Totalkare, just going to run through the safe operation and use of the G9 wash bay or outdoor columns. These columns have been designed to be used either in the wash bay, so you can steam clean the underside of vehicles, or outside if you're restricted for space inside your workshop. Before we lift the vehicle, we're just going to run around and do our pre-use checks. So we'll just get on with that now. What we're checking is the jack handle works, it pumps up and releases. Checking the display for any damage, checking all the buttons and the operation of the emergency stop. Just going to check that the forks are the right width apart for the wheels or tyres that we want to lift. They are adjustable, it's just important that when you do adjust them, you adjust both sides equally. You adjust them by picking them up and sliding them and locking them in place. We want them on the widest setting for lifting 22.5 wheels and tyres. Wander around, make sure everything's operating as it should. Each post is exactly the same. You don't have a master panel on these. Turn them all on just by walking around and turning on all the isolators. And then good practice is to always go back to the first column that you started on. So these columns do communicate wirelessly. So what we need to do now is pair them up as a set of 4 so we can lift a vehicle. So if we come into the menu, press the 4 squares in the bottom right hand corner, and press network. It'll ask us to log in first before we can do anything. Press yes, select end user and enter the password 111, OK. And then we want to build a network. So if you select build a network, we want to make sure this says 4, 6, 8, 10, however many columns you've got needs to be displayed in this top box. And then we press the start button. Start button will generate a random 4-digit code and it will tell us that online there's 1 column. So if we remember that code and add that onto the other 3 columns, that will allow us to pair them up wirelessly. So we'll go around to the other column now. So on this column here, you'll hear it's beeping, it's telling you that that's not in a network. So again, we press the 4 squares in the corner, press the network button, select end user and log in with 111, and we want to join the network. The 4-digit code, which is 6306, OK, and join. Then go to the next column and do exactly the same. So the next column again, that's beeping because it's not in a network. Press the 4 squares in the bottom corner, we'll log in. Again, end user 111. We want to join the network, which is 6306. And then on the last column again, we want to log in, network, end user 111, join the network, enter the 6306, join. Now what we'll see on this column is that all 4 columns are now waiting to be accepted by this column. Got online 4. That's telling us that all 4 columns are online. So when we press done, it will take us back to the home screen. Now all columns are ready to be operated. So what we'll do is before we put it under the vehicle is just function test to make sure the lift's operating as it should. To select the lift, press the green button. You have to do that on any column before you operate it. Then press the up button. Lift will start to rise. So now we're happy that all 4 columns are operating. We'll lower it down to the floor. So on the display screen here, it will come up with error messages or fault codes. So if I press the emergency stop in, it will come up in writing that the activated emergency stop. To release that, just twist. There's also one for the jack unit. So if I pump up the jack, so it will come up that the lift isn't touching the ground. You can release the jack by either pressing the handle So now we're ready to operate the lift and lift the vehicle. So what we need to do now is push all 4 columns under the vehicle, but before we do that, we need to push the rear 2 columns underneath the rear of the vehicle and then release the park brake off the vehicle before we put the front columns under. That will allow the wheels to centralise in the carriage to make sure there's no side load being put through, which will cause premature wear to guide blocks, rollers, or the mast. So we've got all 4 columns under the vehicle and we've released the park brake. Now we want to lift the vehicle. So again, press the green button before operating to select the column that we want to operate from. Before you go up, just press and hold the down button just to make sure all 4 of the columns are at the 0 position, and then raise. Bring the carriage so it's about level with the bottom of the lift, and just walk around the vehicle to make sure that all 4 corners are lifting at the same speed. Obviously, if you're lifting inside the workshop, you need to check above to make sure you're not going to drive the vehicle into any low-hanging lights or ceiling beams or anything like that. As the lift's going up, we're paying attention to make sure that the vehicle's going up level and it's not starting to twist. The clicking you hear as it's raising is the safety lock engaging and disengaging. So if there was ever to be a hydraulic failure, it'd only fall as far as the next lock. Get the vehicle at the height that we want to operate at, and then we need to lower it down into the locks. So we've got a raise button here, a lower button there, and this is the button in the middle to lower it into the safety locks. You'll then come up on the display that it's in the lock. Now it's safe for me to go and work underneath the vehicle.